Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This is where we're going over some of my favorite plays for the 8-game NBA slate for tomorrow on Draftkings. Anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. We're getting close to 3,000 subscribers, so that's absolutely awesome. So thanks to you guys that always support the channel. It's awesome. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, I'm at ChrisPennell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheet I build every single night for the NBA season, links available in the description below for my Patreon. And if you don't know anything about Patreon, the best time to sign up for it is on the first of the month, which it is November 1st. So you're getting your best bang for your buck here because Patreon charges you at the end of the month. So on the first of the month is always the best time to sign up. And if you guys like my videos, you'll definitely like my spreadsheets because that's what I use to make my videos every day. And then you get a lot of the updates throughout the day, which obviously there's always updates throughout the day with late injury news and guys being rolled out randomly. And then it's got all the statistics on here. It's got my projections on here, which I use to help make my videos. I got the player info on here, the pace that they're going to be playing at, the matchup info, Vegas totals when that comes out. Everything's color coded, so you know what's good, you know what's bad. Defense versus position, the advanced statistics on here, the minutes per game, points per minute, usage rate, all that good stuff on there. And then the Draftkings stats, which is just the average stats, basic stats. Then we got factors on here, then projections once everything's updated throughout the day, which I don't update it till I wake up in the morning because I want to go to bed and get some sleep. So anyway, guys, if you were interested, I got my cheat sheet, my Slack chat where you can ask me questions all day or just chat it up or talk about the games. All that's available in the description below for my Patreon, and that's enough plugging. I say we get right into the video. And then we just make sure everything's lined up here, and then you can see all the players' names when I pop them up. So let me just make sure. And we'll screw it down a little bit. Okay, so first guy we're actually going to talk about is James Harden. You guys are going to see a common theme here throughout the video, and you'll figure it out pretty soon here. So just first off, I want everything and everybody involved in this game tomorrow, as it should be a fantasy points bonanza. We have a 241 point over-under with a close spread, with Houston being 3.5 point favorites. Both teams play very fast, so the pace is there, as well as there's nothing not to like here at all. I told you guys the last game, once Harden's shot starts falling, he's going to put up some monster fantasy outings because he was in the 50s constantly with ice-cold shooting performances, and he was 5 for 40 from 3 before last game out. Well, last game he started hitting. He was 18 for 32 from the field and 6 for 14 from 3, which is substantially better than he's done all season. He dropped 59 real-life points. Could have had 60 if he didn't miss that free throw on purpose. And that game almost went overtime. That would have been awesome if it did, because I had pretty much everybody in that game. Unfortunately, it didn't, because James Harden flopped and drew that foul, which can't complain though. James Harden did very well for me. And yeah, he had stats. He had some stats all around the box score, which he always does, which makes him not completely scoring dependent. He also is the best at drawing fouls and getting to the foul line. And when he gets his free throws, those are automatic points, so we get free 15-ish points there nightly. And as for the matchup, it is pretty good. Brooklyn isn't going to lock anyone down, and they've given up some big games to opposing guards already this season. And they have no one capable of being able to stop the duo of Harden and Westbrook. On the season, Harden owns a massive 38.7% usage rate, playing alongside Russell Westbrook, and he's averaging nearly 37 minutes per game and 1.55 fantasy points per minute, which I think has the ability to go up because his shots are going to start falling, and they already did last game, so I think those points per minute does go up. And if we project him for, say, around 35-ish minutes in this game, I mean, we just get a base of around 60 fantasy points just as a baseline projection. And then if we factor in Vegas and whatnot, it's going to be pretty high. I like James Harden a ton. So I know he did get the price hike, but I am always team #always Harden. He's just too good, and it's the scariest thing in the world, fading Harden. And plus, he might stay hot after he finally found his shot. So James Harden, I think you should load him up. And if I don't have James Harden tomorrow, I'm going to feel scared. I know he's 11,000, but there's enough value to get it in, and he's my top priority of the slate. Because if you fade James Harden and he's just blazing threes, it's going to be a bad night for you. So I'd always try to get James Harden in no matter what, and this is a perfect game for it. So James Harden, he is my guy tomorrow, and I'm sure he's going to be a lot of guys tomorrow. Anyway, I know he's the thumbnail right now. He's probably going to be everyone else's thumbnail, but James Harden, I like him. He's going to be high owned, of course, but I think you got to get him in. And then Russell Westbrook, his teammate, 9,800. So no surprise here. My next spend up is I pretty much tell you guys to play them every single night, this duo. But hey, it tends to work out. And seriously, I don't know what Russell Westbrook needs to do for DraftKings to make him over 10K. Not that I'm complaining or anything, just curious. but he continues to put up big games. Last time out, he had a second triple-double of the season. He now has 2 60-point games and 2 50-point games, so he hasn't had a bad game yet. And just like in OKC, he continues to be a triple-double threat every single night, despite playing alongside the highest usage rate player in the NBA, James Harden. And he's playing slightly less minutes than James Harden right now, and I mean slightly, like 2 minutes less. But he's been more productive than Harden while on the floor with 1.62 points per minute compared to Harden's 1.52. Not a substantial difference, but still, Westbrook has been a little bit better while on the court. And both are great. I'm just pointing that out. But on the season, though, he has a 26.8 usage rate, and he's been just fine with that. I love this game, and if I can get a superstar sub 10K in this game, I will take that all day, especially with someone with Westbrook's talent. So I'll be trying to jam in Russ and Harden if possible tomorrow, and I think it's very doable. So Russell Westbrook and James Harden, those are my two guys tomorrow. And then just to get another piece of this game, I don't mind Kyrie Irving as well at 9K. I'm not saying you have to play all three of these guys, but I would try to get at least two of these guys in my lineups tomorrow, depending on how much value opens up. If I love this game for fantasy, and I suppose it's going to be back and forth and close, I got to like someone in the Nets, and I'll take their best player in Kyrie Irving, and one of the best players in the NBA. He's been an absolute stud for fantasy to start the year. He scored 76, 41, 63, and 50 fantasy point outings. Now, I should mention, too, those games did go to overtime, but nonetheless, he still put up those fantasy points. They still count. And I still like him. I think he's going to have a huge game here. He's going to have to stay with these Rockets, and I think he does just that. This game will be played fast, and there will be enough points to go around. I kind of feel like Kyrie can pull kind of like what Bradley Beal did on Wednesday night, where he had to keep up with the Rockets, and the Wizards were doing very well in that game. They were leading for a portion of that game, and Kyrie's getting the main scorer here, and just like Bradley Beal, he put up a 70 fantasy point outing. Now, I'm not saying Kyrie's going to get 70 fantasy points, but I definitely think 60 is possible with the upside of 70, depending on how the game goes. So Kyrie Irving, I do like him, and he's pretty cheap at 9K, and I think he's got a ton of upside in this matchup. So Kyrie Irving would make some sense. So my top 3 spend-ups on this slate are James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kyrie Irving. So common theme there, they're all in the same game. And I do want to talk about one mid-range player. I know I usually just go stars and scrubs in my videos, but I do think there's a really nice mid-range player. And again, it's in the same exact game, but Clint Capella at 7,400. So one of the first things I do when I first glance at a slate, besides check for James Harden, is check what center is playing Brooklyn. And did we hit the jackpot here? Because we are staying in our favorite fantasy game of the night, so let's just keep the stack going. Brooklyn continues their tradition of being awful versus centers last year, as they are giving up the second most points per game to centers this year, only behind Charlotte so far. I think you guys get it by now. High pace, high total, yada, yada, yada. Capella is averaging 29 minutes per game and a pretty nice 1.23 points per minute so far. And just that alone will give you a basic 35 fantasy points for a projection. Then you got to factor in the matchup and then the other game factors like pace, Vegas total, and whatnot. I'd be shocked if he can hit 40 fantasy points here, and he honestly might have a ceiling of around 50. So Clint Capella, I like him a ton. I think he's a lock for a double-double. There's going to be a ton of shots. Should be able to rack up the rebounds, and he should be able to score fantasy points. I think he can get you 20 points, probably over 12 rebounds, and Clint Capella at 7,400, I think he makes a lot of sense. So just keeping the theme going here of liking this Rockets and Nets game. So I do like Clint Capella, and now we're going to talk about some value guys, because I don't want to, if I like all these top-heavy studs and I like a mid-range guy, probably going to have to start going value hunting now. I'm not going to be able to play multiple mid-range guys. So I'm not just going to tell you guys to play all these people that probably not going to be able to play in my roster construction. So I'm kind of walking you guys through a roster construction here in pretty much every video I do. So let's just go all the way down here. And the first guy I want to talk about is Eric Gordon at 4,000 even. And he's only 100 more than he was last game, and I was all in on the guy last time out, and it looks like I will be again. He's in an amazing game environment and continues to see big minutes, averaging nearly 33 minutes per game, which that's massive for guys at this price range, and it's not like he sucks either. He's got upside. Now, I will say his points per minute so far has really sucked. It's only at 0.54 points per minute, but once he starts hitting shots at a better rate, it'll come up just like Harden. And I'm not saying like actual Harden numbers, but you know what I mean. Like Harden was cold, and so was Gordon. He did shoot 13 threes last game, and he hit 5 of them, which isn't actually that bad, but that's literally all he did outside of a rebound and an assist. If he does something similar and maybe picks up a steal and a couple of assists and rebounds, which I think is very doable in this game, I think he's just another obvious value play like he was last game, because I want all I can get from this game. He's going to be jacking up threes, and if he hits, we're going to be pretty darn happy. I mean, if you're going to give me someone at 4K in this kind of a game on a great team with a 120 Vegas total, and he shoots the potential of shooting 13 threes, I will take that. I mean, Eric Gordon can get hot from 3, and he's seeing big minutes. So Eric Gordon, I know he doesn't a lot of peripheral stats or anything, but I'll take that at 4,000. I think he's a pretty darn good value play tomorrow. Then I like his teammate Daniel House. I mean, I'm sorry guys, I'm talking about all the same. I'm talking about pretty much the same team or the same game, but I just love everyone on this game. And I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys to play guys I don't want to play. I'm telling you guys I have interest in, and it's all coming from this game pretty much. He's averaging 30 minutes per game and actually has a solid .82 fantasy points per minute, so he's definitely in play. He had a pretty good game last time out. He hit 4 threes, ended up getting 33.75 fantasy points, 17 points the game before that. Then versus New Orleans, another fast-paced, bad defense, he scored 29 fantasy points, so the guy's been productive, so I like Daniel House as well. I think he makes some sense. You could play Gordon and House too. I don't know if you want to play 4 Rockets, but I wouldn't be surprised if 4 Rockets ended up hitting value, and so I don't mind going with a full Houston-Brooklyn stack for your lineups, if it's possible with salary. So I'm not going to just keep talking about this game. I do want to talk about some other guys that I do have interest in. So I think Jordan Clarkson at 3,800, I think he's a pretty decent value play on Cleveland. Now, I am a Cleveland homer, but that's not the reason why I'm talking about him. So I actually don't mind him here. He's averaging 21 minutes per game on the season, and he has a pretty nice .96 points per minute, which is pretty good for this price range. And he does have a 25% usage rate, so he's got the ball in his hands. I like this at this price. He's getting decent minutes. He scored 23 fantasy points in 3 straight games, and I think he's a safe bet for around 20 points again. And he's going to help us fit in guys like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving. So I'll take that at 3,800. I know he doesn't have a huge ceiling or anything, but if you can get me over 20 fantasy points at 3,800 and you let me get my studs and they can score 70 points at a minute's notice, I like that. So Jordan Clarkson, he is in the player pool for me. And next thing I want to talk about is, if I can find him, Maxi Kleber. I think that's how they pronounce it. I know he's German. Kleber. I wanted to say Kleber or Kleber, but I'm pretty sure it's Kleber. But we'll just call him Maxi for right now. Now he does take a hit with Powell being back, but their plan is to gradually bring him back into it. So I don't think Maxi is going to be completely out of the game plan at all. He's still going to have a consistent role here for the time being, and he's been producing very well. He still had 30 minutes coming off the bench last game, and he put up 32 fantasy points. He's getting 28 minutes per game right now, but I do think it's fair to bump that down a little bit. So let's just say we project him for around 24, 25, 26, something like that with Powell being back. But he's been getting .91 fantasy points per minute, and I think he's a safe bet for over 20 fantasy points again with upside. So at 4K, I would take that versus the Lakers. He's going to get some rebounds. Not going to put up a whole bunch of points, but he's got double-double upside. I'm not saying it's likely, but he's got the potential there. And he's been blocking shots. He's pretty good at blocking shots. 3 blocks, 1 block, 1 block, 3 blocks. I will take that. So 4K, I think he can get you over 20 fantasy points, but as you can see, he's got 30 fantasy point upside as well. So Maxi Kleber, I don't mind him either. And I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Obviously, other plays can open up throughout the day, but as of right now at 12 a.m., I don't have a crystal ball telling me who's going to be in and out. So I'm just speculating on the slate at this moment. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're interested in the spreadsheets I build every single night for the NBA season, links available in the description below for my Patreon and Slack chat and cheat sheet, all that good stuff. Hope you guys had a good night. Jokic got the big snowflake. I don't know, the Nuggets pulled their starters out early. That kind of sucked. But yeah, it's really all about the slate. Okafor did very good. He came in a little bit higher owned than I thought. I didn't see too many people talking about it. A lot of people were talking about the other big men for New Orleans, but he ended up being like 30% owned. But he had a really good game. He almost scored 40 fantasy points. So probably pretty happy if you played him. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. I will leave you guys with that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And best of luck.